Have you ever considered racing in a shoe with no drop? Altra is not advertising their shoes as zero drop shoes anymore. They're just balanced, and this one may be a shoe that you will consider for many distances, and here's why. Hey everyone, and welcome back on the channel. My name is Alex. In today's video we have the review of the Altra Vanish Carbon 2. This is the second iteration of Altra's premium racing shoe. We got this shoe from Top for Running, and you can find a link to topforrunning.com in the description. You can purchase this shoe with code META, M-E-T-A. That will give you a discount and you will pay less for this shoe and many other shoes that you can find on topforrunning.com. Looking at the specs of this shoe, we have 36 millimeters of stack height in the heel, 36 in the forefoot. That's a zero drop shoe. It's called Balanced by Altra, not zero drop, but essentially it's a zero drop shoe. In terms of weight, my size US 11 EU45 comes at 246 grams, which is a good weight for a racing shoe. Not the best, not the worst. The Alpha Fly, for instance, in its first and second versions was 260, and yet it was one of the best racing shoes. So 246 isn't too shabby. That's pretty much the same weight as something like the Adios Pro 3 from Adidas. Looking at the upper of this shoe, we have a minimal upper, see-through upper in the forefoot. You have a bit more construction in the heel with those funny holes that you have on the side. Two bolsters, providing with a decent lockdown, not the best in my opinion. You have a semi-gusseted tongue. The tongue is okay actually, but you don't have the opportunity to create a runner's knot because there's no additional eyelet for a runner's knot, which I think would have helped for the overall lockdown of the shoe, but nevertheless. The laces are a bit long and on the thinner side of things, but they hold up quite well once laced. How's the comfort? How's the fit? This is a true to size shoe, no doubt whatsoever. Plenty of room in the forefoot, despite it being the kind of narrowest version of Altra's foot shapes. Yet it is super generous in terms of width, especially in the forefoot. You also have no issues in terms of volume in the midfoot, in the heel. But keep in mind, if you're an Altra loyalist, that this may not be as generous as some other Altra shoes, because again, Altra has 3 different foot shapes in their lasts, and this is the more narrow one. The comfort is actually quite good. I think the lockdown could have been improved with the ability to do a runner's knot. But overall, the upper is quite pleasant. It feels very light on top of your foot, which is a good thing. And you forget about the upper once running. So yeah, quite cool. You have this funny cutout here on the tongue, which is actually quite nice because it places perfectly, it aligns perfectly with your tendon, therefore creating, no chafing, no friction whatsoever with the tongue. So that's a nice touch. Let's go to the midsole, and that's where I think this shoe shines a lot. If you want to go on metaendurance.com, that's our website, you will read Ivan's review. Ivan is actually our fastest marathon runner in the group here at Meta Endurance. He thinks this shoe is the most fun shoe that he has ever run in. But if you want to know more about his review, his opinion, then just go on metaendurance.com. There's a link in the description, or just type it in your URL search bar on your browser. You will find our website and the review of this shoe, which again, Ivan did a great job at reviewing, and you will have a different perspective than just mine on this product. But speaking of the midsole, we have that Ego Pro midsole. It's a PIBA midsole, despite Altra not calling it PIBA. It is more than 30% lighter than the previous version of the midsole on the Altra Vanish Carbon released in 2022, if I remember well. It offers you plenty of squish. This is literally, one of the squishiest midsole you can find. It has that very distinct characteristics of Pebax, meaning that it is squishy, very compliant, very compressive. It has a very powerful decompression, leg-saving effect, and it's very fun. I must admit that where I agree with Ivan is really on the fun part of this shoe, of this ride. Especially, I think there's one place where I think it shines in particular, and that's the forefoot. The forefoot has a few interesting characteristics. One of them being that, well, it's at the same height as the heel, but that's the purpose and the principle, of Altra shoes. But it really feels like it has even more foam and an even more pillowy sensation under your metatarsals, providing with a lot of snappiness and explosiveness at toe-off phase. Altra shoes are not meant for a specific foot strike, but by nature, by design, they will tend to help you land a bit more towards your forefoot, and they will help you have that slightly more quote-unquote, because I don't think this is the right word, but quote-unquote natural gait cycle. Altra placed more foam, or it feels like there is a bit more of that, pillow of foam, bulk of foam under the forefoot, and it makes the forefoot of this shoe a very pleasant place to spend some time in your gait cycle, push on, and have that sensation of deep cushion but very explosive decompression, which is very nice. The other characteristic that is interesting about the forefoot is the grooves that you have here on the outsole. Thanks to those grooves, you have a bit more flex in the forefoot than on most carbon plated shoes, and that really helps you kind of replace a rocker. A rocker would have been very hard to implement on a zero drop shoe for geometry reasons, but because of those grooves, you replace a bit the rocker. You help to, those grooves, help you to have a bit more of that rocker-like geometry created in the forefoot, and preserve also the natural aspect of your gait cycle and foot strike. Looking at the outsole, I mentioned the grooves. There's also plenty of rubber coverage. You can really see how wide the forefoot is looking at the outsole. The rest of the shoe is also super wide, like an Altra shoe should be, or as many Altra shoes at least. Plenty of rubber coverage. I haven't had a chance to run in this shoe on wet surfaces, but I can imagine it's at least it has the rubber coverage that should be sufficient to do well on wet surfaces, but I don't know how grippy it is, so I will not comment on that yet. Let's discuss the use scenarios, or the way I would use this shoe personally. And I think that many people will be able to take this shoe beyond 5K, 10K half marathon distances, meaning that even to cover a full marathon, this is a decent, viable option. I will not do it because I have other shoes that I prefer compared to this one, and that's just me being super honest with you. Where I think this shoe will shine, unlike the first version of the Vanish Carbon, is for short distances, 5K, 10K, again because of that more forefoot oriented foot strike that this shoe promotes. And you just feel very snappy. You probably, I am at least not super efficient in this shoe because I don't have that, gliding stride that is super efficient. I'm more of a powerful runner when I'm putting this shoe on. I'm pushing more on my forefoot, using a bit more my quads, but it works for short distances because you don't necessarily need to be super efficient. So that's how I would use it. I think it's a very good rep shoe, a very good track shoe as well, and a very good shoe for short distances, for myself, for my preferences. Again, go on the website metaendurance.com and try to figure if Ivan's opinion may be closer to your needs, and maybe his opinion will also help you to understand how this shoe can work for you and for the racing distances that you will cover in the near future. Anyways, I think Altra did a good job. This shoe comes at €250, $250, which is in the ballpark of super shoes. I think it's a reasonable price point for the performance that you get out of this shoe. It's a fun shoe, and I say that despite not seeing it in my rotation as much as Ivan will probably have it in his rotation. So yeah, good job Altra. I think this is a compelling proof that Altra is a brand that people need to consider, even for performance-oriented products and for products that compete with shoes that have drop. Thanks a lot for watching. Enjoy your run today, enjoy your ride, and go check the review of the, let's do the Mont Blanc from Altra, simply because why not? Go on the trails, it's also very fun. Thanks a lot for watching.